Three, two, one. Hey, folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G. How the fuck are y'all doing today on this beautiful Monday afternoon, June
This is the third.
3rd? I hope everybody doing good. I'm doing okay, I think. How you doing, Sean?
Slow and low, but still around.
That's good, man. We want you around at least for the next 2 hours. So just make sure that
I do the audio production, man. I kind of need me.
Yo,
and we're off.
how about we start it off by explaining, Sean, if you want, about what you did this weekend.
Well, before we get into that, I want to touch on a little subject maybe for 5-10 minutes because I thought it was not important. I just found it interesting, and I'm going to state those reasons into why. And I'm going to jump right into it. I don't know if you read the article or you read the article. I sure as hell did. But now Jay-Z has now become officially the first actual real hip-hop artist to become a billionaire as of today.
I thought he already was.
No, he was very close. He was at like 950 million for like the past 2 years or whatever.
Damn.
But as of today, he's officially with his net worth and assets included and businesses, he's worth about, well, not about, but it's $1 billion. And the
American dollars?
American
Like,
dollars.
is all this?
Yeah.
Does he have any assets like overseas?
No. Well, that would no. And it's cool that you actually asked that.
Yeah.
Forbes calculated like what he has, like as far as like the U.S. and so on, and like his businesses and stuff like that. They also did specifically say, that's what I'm saying. It's funny that you say that because they also did specifically say that they subtracted the money that he spends yearly for his like lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
And other expenses that basically are not taxed by this country, which is not taxed or not taken by this country, which is kind of maybe what you're saying, as far as like if he has other earnings like in other countries or whatever, that's completely separate. But he's worth $1 billion. The reason that first of all, the reason I want to say, I knew that he was gonna get there, and I knew that it was either him or Diddy, Sean Combs, that was gonna make it to that point. And the reason I say that is because of his mindset. Like, his business mindset has always been very strong.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say that intrigued me the most about the story was that a lot of people don't know, but this dude does not have a high school diploma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just comes to show, man, that I don't advocate people not going to college. I don't advocate you not getting your education. But if you're a person, because there's a lot of us out there.
Yeah. Did you go to college?
That I'm getting there.
Okay.
There's a lot of people, like myself included, that school is just not for you. And like what I'm trying to say is, like, just because you didn't go to school or you didn't further your education, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to become a failure. Now, I will say that's like a lot of studies do show that if you don't go to school and further your education, your chances are much higher of not being successful.
Yeah.
But I think that with the evolution of the internet and everything that we literally now have at our fingertips, like I said in one of our previous episodes, at this point in time in the era which we're living in, if you are stupid, like if you are, and I mean ignorant, as in you don't know shit, at this point in time is because you choose to remain stupid. Because we have information like at our fingertips. It's up to you to want to research and learn and shit like that. Also, like this dude came like literally from nothing. He came from like being a drug dealer to to Forbes magazine,
Yeah.
you know, and
How do you
becoming,
think he did it?
huh?
How do you think he did it?
His work ethic, man.
Yeah.
His
I mean, 'cause at the
another-
time, do you think he was only messing with like music?
No,
You
he's
think he
admitted
was-
that.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, I don't
Well,
understand.
I mean, I don't know-
What was your question? Hold on, I don't understand your question.
The question was like, do you think he was doing other stuff outside of music? I mean, I only know like a couple of his songs. I'm not a big Diddy fan.
No,
So-
are we talking about Jay-Z or?
I mean, yeah, Jay-Z. My bad.
Oh no, yeah, man. He was doing the. You're not gonna become a billionaire just off of.
Yeah, you think he was still selling drugs?
No.
No.
I highly doubt that he.
You think maybe at the start though he was like
No,
some-
at the start, yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
yeah.
When he literally came from nothing, and when he started, like when he was growing up in the Marcy projects in Brooklyn, like he was a drug dealer. He was like a well-known drug dealer. Another
Yeah.
thing they don't know about him is like when he tried to pitch his first album, because he self-recorded and self-produced with Damon Dash his first album, which was Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
And it was titled something else before Reasonable Doubt. I forgot what the title of the album was. But he shopped it everywhere. And because of the content that he was delivering, every label was turning him down. Now, given when he was not, and he was knocking on big labels, like he went to Universal, he went to Def Jam the first time, and they were turning him down. When he was going to these big ass labels, another thing that people don't know, he was going with a duffel bag of 100 grand. And what he literally had 100 grand. He was worth 100 grand when he was shopping his record or whatever. And what he was telling these people was like, hey man, this is what I'm doing. I want to come to you and bring you my album, but I don't want to be just signed to your label. I don't want to be, he was basically, I don't want to be an artist in your label. I'm looking for a partnership. And everybody was like, you're fucking crazy. Like, I'm not going to fucking, like, what can I get from you? And he told everybody, oh, you know what? Well, then, like, I'm not interested. Def Jam was the only one that offered him, and it wasn't even a 50-50 stake. I think it was like a 30% stake and a distribution deal. But he figured out long run that distribution deal was still going to fuck him over. Yeah. So he went back and this was after he started like moving units of his album or whatever. He saw that his music was not getting the push that he needed, and they weren't putting him out there commercially. So he went back, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? Like, I need more. I need for you to push me more, you know. And I want more of the stake in the company." Yeah. And then they were like, "No, like this is all we can give you, and this is all that you're getting. You only have one album." And then he was basically, long story short, he was like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck that. This is not what I want. Just, you know, let me go or whatever." And they let him go, but because of the contractual agreements, they kept his masters to his only album, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I need my masters back or whatever." And they're like, "No, you have a contract. If you leave, you can leave, but you're leaving your masters behind." So he said, "I fuck it, whatever. I'm gonna take off," and he took a chance on himself. So with him and Dame, they started Rockefeller Records, and they basically literally rented a small office. They only had one phone line, no computer, no furniture. It was just one phone. And they spent like hours locked in this room trying to formulate a plan to run their own record label. And they had no experience in running a company, running a record label or whatever, but they took a chance on themselves. So they started moving like copies themselves or whatever. And every other label, they were still reaching out to labels, and every other label was telling them, they were basically, because again of the content of his music, they're like, "Dude, you're not marketable. We can't market you. You don't. because he wasn't attractive to radio DJs, so they couldn't play his shit on the radio. So they were like, "Nah, man, like
Yeah. I like the way that guy says,
So, so, so he was like, "I fuck it, we'll do it ourselves or whatever." So they built Rockefeller Records. He sold like over 200,000
Yeah.
copies by himself of
Did he ever come out in one of Dave Chappelle's Dave Chappelle's show? You know how they used to have the musical performances at the end? Did he ever appear on that?
I believe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what really gave him his push was when MTV, back when MTV was at his height. When
I'm assuming he was already pretty successful when he did the Chappelle show.
Yeah. He was successful, but he wasn't as big as
He wasn't like a household name.
Yeah,
and shit.
exactly.
Okay.
So what really kind of pushed him into like being a household name was when MTV gave him his own Unplugged segment. Remember when they had that show Unplugged?
Oh yeah, they gave him an unplugged segment.
Yeah, so they gave him an Unplugged segment, and he just took that shit and like ran with it.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So that's what like everybody then knew.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit, this is Jay-Z, you know. Then Universal and Sony and BMI and fucking Def Jam, they were like, hey man, so about that partnership. So he turned around and he was like, well, fuck you. I got what I needed without you, so I don't need you anymore. Then, like 5 years later or so, I'm not sure on the timeline, he came back to Def Jam and he tried to buy 50% of the company. And again, they were like, no, we're not selling you 50% of the company. And then this was when he was already successful. Like he already made his first couple of million or whatever. And then he was like, all right, he was like, we can't sell you 50% of the company, because he wanted to go into partnership with Rockefeller and Def Jam. He was like, we can't do that. What we can do is we can make you president and CEO of Def Jam. So he's like, all right, I'll take it, but I'll take it on the condition that I can run my position my way. And he was like, all right, cool, whatever. So they signed contract or whatever, and he's like, and I need to have my masters back. So they were like, no, we can't do that. We still own part of your masters.
You think he's in charge of the Beyonce shit? You know, you think he's
not from what I've read. I've never really looked into that extensively.
Yeah.
But he's not completely in control of all of her shit.
No, but do you think he at least maybe manages her like?
No, from what I also understand, he doesn't manage her.
So she's like 100% independent woman.
Kind of.
She's not lying in these songs.
Huh?
She's not lying.
Yeah, no. No, he's not. I'm pretty sure, because it's her husband. Like he guides her and kind of shows her the game.
Yeah.
But he's not like, he doesn't have a real big hand as in like, this is how you're gonna run your shit or whatever.
Yo, on the gossip level, dude. How do you feel about Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, and then Beyonce writing about it, bro? And then him admitting it to it in that interview.
It was a fuck up.
Yeah.
But something that they did is they turned it around. They saved their marriage, and they turned it into a marketing tool. That was one of the greatest fucking marketing. That it was great.
Man. How many girls get cheated on, dude?
Those two
Beyonce
records,
made
man,
fucking cash, dude.
Those two records after the whole
she had to
scandal,
thank Jay-Z though, you know, like, hey.
No, I don't.
That's why she stuck with him.
There's different versions of that, but anyway, so that's basically what he did, and then what he started doing was he started noticing that at the CEO level of like Def Jam, one of the biggest corporations in the music industry, they were signing a whole bunch of artists and basically giving them a lot of money up front, and but they weren't doing anything with the artists after that. Like they were giving them their like, and then we're gonna take you on tour, but after bringing them off tour, like there was no push for commercial success behind their music. So he was like, hey man, that's wrong. Why aren't you pushing all these artists that you have signed or whatever? So what he started doing is like he literally physically started going into like these people, like these CEOs' offices and knocking on their doors, and they were like, hey man, like what's going on? Like we need to do this work so we can help these artists. We got so much music to push out, and but it's not getting done. Like In his words, basically, I started pushing. There was a lot of people up top that were getting a free ride and collecting a paycheck, and I started to like push them like to actually do the job that they were supposed to be doing. So as soon as I started doing that from the top, they started to like not like me. So they like so they started to be they came back to him and they're like, hey man, we hired you as the CEO and the president of this company, but you need to stick to your role. And he was like, well, I thought this was my role. He's like, yeah, but not like that. And he's like, all right, man, if you're not gonna let me develop the talent the way I want to develop it, then there's not much else that I can do for you anymore. So I think the best thing I got to do is to be out. And then he's like, all right, cool. But if you leave, we're going to keep your masters. So, and the reason they were doing it is because by this time, Def Jam were.
Yo, I think he should have just taken the fucking like, all right, dude, fuck it, take my masters, whatever.
No.
You're only gonna own them for like the catalog is only available for so long. He could buy it off again.
Well, yeah, well, that's kind of the direction that he went. I mean,
Yeah.
through court and legal shit.
Yeah.
But later,
Is the end of this story like a happy one where he's like finally fucking got his masters? Does he have his masters right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has his masters now, and that's what I was gonna say. What he ended up doing, because he became independent again with no boss, no label. So then he actually sold Rockefeller Records to Def Jam.
Oh no joke.
Yeah, he sold it. He sold it for, I think it was back in the day. It was like something like 100 million or 80 million, something like that.
Was that
And he sold his stake. So Dame was like, I don't want to do that, and he was like, bro, well, I want to be out, but I'm not gonna lose out on my money. He told Dame, he was like, you can either stick with me, and I'm gonna start my own company, but I'm gonna sell this shit back to them because I don't want anything to do with them, or you can stick with them, and that's what started the animosity between them too. You know what I mean? And so Dame decided to stick with Def Jam or whatever. And he sold the Rockefeller imprint, and he got his money. Years later, like Rockefeller ended up like going bankrupt or whatever, and he made a deal with Rock Nation for, I believe it was 10 years and 300 million over 10 years. And so again, long story short,
did he sell it in like 2004 or what?
he sold it if I'm not mistaken, he sold it in 2007, I think.
Oh yeah, in 2007. Yeah.
2007. Thank you for fact checking me, man.
Yo, no, that was like,
sure.
if you look at it, that man, like there was a big, I mean, that was like the second wave of the recession too, you know.
Yeah. So like he sold
So
it,
maybe
whatever.
he predicted like the downfall already.
Yeah.
As a businessman, that's like
he saw it.
Yeah.
But the reason that what he explains is he saw the downfall coming because these people, like the music industry, was moving and evolving quick, and they didn't want to evolve. He actually told Def Jam, y'all need to move out of this CD sales quick because this shit is gonna go digital.
Are you like a big Jay-Z fan, Sean?
No, I'm passingly aware of Jay-Z's stuff, but
Yeah.
like I
Like
followed the man's career.
Like Jay-Z stuff. Like, what are you privy to? Like, what are you knowledgeable to then in the Jay-Z world?
That he
Mainly
cheated
having
on
just-
Beyonce.
Nah, I don't think I've actually listened to an album since before that, man. Like, yeah, I sat down with a couple, the Blueprint and a couple of the other ones.
Yeah.
And another
I'm on like that level, dude. I've only listened to like the Blueprint because like people have recommended it. Like, hey,
another fun fact about the Blueprint, the
Yeah.
first one, is that that album has recently been inducted into the Congressional Library of the United States government due to the business orientation of the content of the record.
for real. Has any of Eminem's albums made it to the
I
Congressional Library?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
Did you see this new song that he made? Like he sampled.
Homicide.
I think it was with Logic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
dude.
fucking record is bad.
It is good, dude.
Yeah.
But did you hear? I think it was towards the end where he sampled Chris D'Elia making fun of him.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a good like.
Yeah, man. So anyway, that just brings me back to, man, like the fact that this dude was like has no high school diploma, has an album in the congressional library of the United States government, and he's a self-made billionaire, like coming from nothing and having nothing. And that just comes to show that if you have the proper work ethic, and if you're willing to seek education in other ways and continue to educate yourself, you can be as successful as you want. But you have to have the drive to want it. And he's one of the few people that I've heard that he always envisioned himself as having, he never said billionaire anywhere, but he always envisioned himself having generational wealth. He's like, I didn't want to be rich. I didn't want to be a millionaire. I didn't want to have money for me. I wanted to have money that my grandkids could have.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And he's the
That's how you ensure that you stay rich too, dude. Like
he's one of the few people that I've seen, and that's not coming to talk about all the philanthropy and the charity work that he's done.
In the long run, that's even beneficial financially because those are huge tax cuts that you get.
Yeah.
Like you know, like it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's completely selfish, but it's like, it's a little like pat on your back for donating, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought it was just very like uplifting when I read that article, and just like I said, and just the mentality, and the like you said earlier, the business minded approach that he has to everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The idea, a lot of his wealth that a lot of people don't know either, is that he invested early in Uber.
Yeah.
And he got a residual check after taxes.
Yeah.
For $70 million.
How do you feel about, like, are you guys knowledgeable about the stock market?
Not really.
No.
I've been wanting to dabble in it.
Yeah.
But I feel that I don't know enough that if I try it now, I'd probably fuck myself over.
Like I'm not super knowledgeable, but from reading like a couple books, they tell you to like invest in stuff that you know.
Yeah.
Like
that makes sense.
Like if you know like technology, or like specific car parts or cars and equipment, you know.
Yeah.
Like you have a knowledge on like the stock market, like these stocks
that
are being sold.
You know what a lot of us people like fucking slept on?
What?
Like if we would have been smart about it, I think all three of us would have been multimillionaires if we would have invested. I think they said it was $1,000 when vitamin water came out. Yeah, no, like
probably, dude,
like for real, because then.
But I don't know. I think, didn't they get bought out by like Coca-Cola or one of those big corporates?
No? Coca-Cola sold vitamin water. It was Coca-Cola's, and then they sold to another company.
Is it Nestle or what?
I don't remember what company it was, but they sold to another company, and this is another successful story. 50 Cent.
Yeah.
He invested in vitamin water.
Was it vitamin water or smart water?
No, vitamin water. And everybody was telling him, don't do it, bro. Because everybody was thinking vitamin water was a stupid idea. Because everybody thought that it was just like colored water.
Oh, it's a retarded idea.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Exactly. Dude.
There's no benefit to that whatsoever.
No. I'm not talking about like the nutritional benefits to it or whatever. But as far as like the marketing, everybody was telling him that it was a stupid idea or whatever.
I thought he was behind smart water too.
No. I believe it's just vitamin water. So what happened there was he invested, I believe it was like something like 20 million
20 million.
into 15 or 20 million into vitamin water. When they sold to when Coca-Cola sold vitamin water, and this is like he said, and there's a couple other sources that say it too. Coca-Cola cut him a check supposedly of 100 million after taxes. That was supposedly the.
For real.
And I think I only read 2 articles or 3 articles actually backing up that claim. But yeah. Anyway, back to my original point. Yeah, dude. Shouts out to Jay-Z for becoming the first billionaire, and that's what get me. That's what gets me, man. Like the only other person that I know of that was able to create a company from nothing and from scraps when he had nothing, and the only company to be featured on the Forbes 500
Yeah.
was Warren Buffett's what's it called, Berkshire
Yeah.
Hathaway. Yeah, that is. I think if it's not the only one, it's one of 2 companies
Yeah.
to be featured on the Forbes 500 to be started from like nothing to the top.
You know what? You know what amazes me and what I'm proud of seeing is people who like famous people who do acting or whatever they do, and then they do like a labor-intensive job as well. Like
Yeah,
whenever
like
he,
what's his name?
Whenever he had
Steve. I can't pronounce his last name. Buscemi.
oh, Buscemi.
Yeah,
Dude.
he's a quiet firefighter,
Yeah,
volunteer
man.
firefighter. Yeah.
Well, he started off as a volunteer firefighter and then got into acting.
Yeah, but after he became a big ass actor,
He like donated he went back to his firehouse during 9/11.
Yeah,
Right.
to go help during the and he didn't tell anybody. Another one that does that a lot is a lot of people don't know, but Denzel Washington. There was bombings in a village in Germany, and this was back in like 2011 or 2012, and they bombed hospitals and schools. So a lot of people were left, like the people that were left over that didn't die, were left like out with nowhere to live, and they were living in tents. So what he did is he actually donated money to rebuild homes and rebuild a hospital, and like it was in the millions that he donated, and again, and his only condition was that he didn't want any press about it. He's like, I'm gonna give you this money. This is gonna be built, but I don't want any press or any. And they respected his request.
What's that guy's name from Van Halen that Joe Rogan had on not too long ago?
It wasn't Van Halen. It was.
It was Van Halen.
Are you talking about
David Lee Roth? There you go.
Oh, okay.
He like fucking went off of the grid, dude, and like just quit Van Halen and started becoming like became like an EMT.
Yeah.
That was like pretty cool, dude. I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, man.
Like I thought they just like kicked him out, and they wanted to have like Sammy Hagar, you know.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
But do you know that Anthony Mackie guy from the Iron Man? Oh no, the Captain America movies. I think he's like the next Captain America, whatever. He's that black guy.
Right.
You know, he actually has like a construction company, and he actually works in his construction company when he's not like acting.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty cool, dude. They're like.
Yeah, there's.
I think it's tied to like a real estate deal that he's doing. Also, like he's probably buying land and subsidizing and like building homes and shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's quite a few famous people that are like really, really wealthy and well off, that do have that tendency of like doing regular shit, and they say that it's because it's the only thing that helps them also like cling on to their normality, because they say that they feel that if they wouldn't do that, they would feel like they would lose themselves, like they would lose a sense of like reality. You know what I mean? And they don't like fucking. They I'm pretty sure nobody would like the feeling of that shit. I was thinking about it the other day. And as cool and as awesome as it would sound to be able to like sit on your ass, or not necessarily sit on your ass literally, but like to have everybody do everything for you. Like I think, yeah. Like I was hearing an interview with Mariah. Was it Mariah Carey? No, Helen. Ellen DeGeneres.
Hmm.
She was saying that she has a maid for everything. Like she has a maid that does this, a maid that does that. She basically does not have to do anything around the house. And she always has somebody on call like 24/7. She said that one day she had an issue where one or two of her people didn't show up, and she actually just had to do something regular around the house,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't know how to do it. She was like, I was in my own fucking house. She didn't say it like that, but she was like, I was in my own house and I did not understand. Like I didn't know how to do the. I don't know if it was like to start the washer or the oven or some shit like that.
Right.
And she was like, I was completely like dumbfounded, and it made me realize of like how codependent I'm on like other people to do shit for me. So then she said that slowly she was like, I still have maids, but I'm backing off like completely depending like on other people.
Man, I think if all right, Ellen is probably at the bottom tier of that, like ridiculous wealthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. You measure her up against like fucking Jay-Z, something like that. Like you go, oh yeah, no, she's doing all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is at that at least like bottom tier of being wealthy enough.
Well,
They-
when you think about it like that, I mean, you also got to remember. I think again, I may be wrong because I'm not rich,
Right.
but I think that as long as you got a cool 50 million like available in your account, I think that that's enough money to like really not do shit if you don't want to. Like you can have somebody just fucking turn off the light for you just because you don't want to get up.
Well, that's what I was
And
gonna say,
shit
man.
like
It's
that.
it's that level of money where you can literally alter your reality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's like, all right, you can notice that like
I
in
think if you take jumps, like if you don't like, I think it's like levels. Like you have to kind of work your way up and feel like the different like levels of rich. I think if you jump them all at
Like-
once,
Well, I
That-
think there's a split though, man, because there's that one level where it's like, oh, I want to alter reality where I'm going to do away with all of the menial tasks of my life. I will literally be ignorant of the functioning of my own existence
Yeah.
to the because like seriously, if that would fucking that I think that would fuck with my head if I was ever in my own home and realized that there was something that I was ignorant of how to do in my own home. Like
Yeah.
that would, but then you have like the flip side where you get like somebody like fucking what is it? Elon Musk, man. Fucking I'm trying to think of some other Steve. Yeah, Wozniak. The other guy that was with Jobs on Apple, man. Like
Yeah.
that guy grew
the
up.
actual person behind that.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
genius himself, man. Dude, I always love that line from I think it's Pirates of Silicon Valley where he's like, yeah, after the plane crash when he's like, yeah, like my memory wasn't working right, so I just had to reprogram myself. But like all right, like that, where like he grew up, fucking lower middle class suburban kid, geek in his fucking garage, and he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn how to fly a plane. I'm gonna like, fucking like, I think he designs fucking board games at this point, but like the point of like he went the opposite direction where it's like, oh, I realize I can alter reality down to the minutia. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, like the idea of being so rich that you have like a smart home, dude, where like you as a single person in that home can like accomplish like what it might take an entire staff.
Yeah.
You look at like say like historically like the way the rich used to live where they required all of these people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You get a house big enough, man. Like You know what I mean? There might be parts of that house you'll never see for a fucking year.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
And this is a question that I wanted to ask the both of you, and like it's a serious question because I thought about it a lot. Um, if y'all were to really come up, and I don't really want to say like fuck you money, because fuck you money would be anything above like 100 million and above that, but just like some real money. Like I said, say that you have a cool 50 million in the bank, and you know that that money's yours and it's there, like you're stocked up. What would be something that you would automatically do so that you have to stop doing?
what do you mean?
Yeah, what is something that you still continue to do now just because you know that you're broke?
Oh, like right now that I'm doing because I'm broke.
Yeah, like in other words, if you could pay somebody to do it, what would it be? Because you have that money and you're like, ah, fuck it.
Walking my dog. I think that's about it, dude. Yeah.
Fucking, are you fucking kidding me,
Especially
dude?
in the heat. Yeah, dude. I don't want to do that shit. Pick up your shit. I don't want to do that.
You do know that there's an app for
Yeah, dude.
professional
But
dog
like,
walk.
I mean, that's an expense that I'm cutting right now because I'm not rich. You know.
Walking your dog.
Yeah, walking my dog.
Okay, I'll take that. You?
Something I would stop doing if I had the option.
I mean, it's still gonna get done. You're just not gonna do it anymore.
Right. Yeah, I would basically.
Because you're a pretty independent person, right? Pretty much do everything for yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I wash my own dishes. So,
I like the way you threw that out there. I wash my own dishes, bro.
fuck, man, that's a great question. You know what? I think what I would do, because I've seen people that like have like, say somebody like a cleaning service come in every once in a while, but like it's too much. Like I'd have somebody come in like maybe like once a month and just like just get the detail work. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll wipe it off, but like I just want somebody to come in and like put some effort into it.
So like you have these millions in the bank, and you would just hire a person or people to come in once a month to basically detail your house.
Check everything, man. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like, oh, wipe the dust
So-
off.
so
I'm
like
talking
you-
about like
So like you would continue to like make your own food and do your own laundry.
yeah, man. As a matter of fact, I would require in the contract that I never see these people. Just be like, oh, you're gonna be here. All right, cool.
I don't want to bump into you.
Yeah, I don't want to know you exist. I don't want to have to worry about
Bro,
fucking.
if you go to the bus stop in McAllen, downtown McAllen, I'm pretty sure you could find yourself two elderly ladies that'll
Yeah, word.
for probably like $40.
Yeah,
Okay, I wasn't really specific enough. I want somebody that can like fucking like double check like the fixtures in the fucking house, like down to the point where it's like,
Yeah.
like if I'm talking like gutters to fucking like baseboards, man. You know what I'm saying?
Like a whole service.
Yeah,
A
like
whole fucking service.
not necessarily they come in like once a month and redo everything, but just they come in once a month and they literally do like, fucking termite check, do a fucking, the drainage on the pipes, just all the shit that builds up over time that like we tend to like, how often do you like snake out your fucking like bathroom pipes? You
only
know what I
when they
mean?
get clogged.
Yeah. Dude, I had to clean out my bathroom sink fucking couple days ago, and it was like I realized I hadn't actually looked at the motherfucker beyond just wiping it off for like months, and it was like, shit, man.
yeah.
Like, yeah, there's that level of fucking like
So just like the people to do the main adulting in the house.
So
the supplementary adulting.
I got you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you man, y'all got some weird fucking requests, man.
What would you do, bro? What was the one thing?
I just is weird. Like I'm still stuck.
I'd stop
on,
going grocery shopping. I would
just-
totally
that-
get
that-
a
that is-
grocery
that is-
service.
That
man.
is one. So I'm gonna mention three because Sean brought up a good point. But yeah, I'm still stuck here thinking, you motherfuckers got like millions in the bank, and that's what y'all would do. I don't know. It's crazy to me, but see, the first thing
Because
I
dude,
would do.
there's not a lot of shit that like I'd stop doing, man. There's a whole lot of shit I'd start doing. Like that's a larger conversation
Like
right there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
What I would do for first line of business would be, I would get me a 24-hour driver, meaning whether it's 4 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the AM.
You know, I kind of figured you would get a driver.
And you better be ready to go.
Yeah.
Like no questions. I call, you there, we leaving. You can ask her because you got to know where we're going. But
This poor guy, bro. Fuck,
yeah,
man.
you're gonna get paid well. Is what the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that and
How fast is like? Do you want him to be there seconds as soon as you want to go?
no.
You give him
Just
some
I
leeway?
would give you time. You know.
Shit, because
So
I'm thinking I could apply for this gig, bro. I don't live that far.
So that second thing, 24-hour chef. Whether it's 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you want to get your ass wiped too? Is that the third one?
No. But yes, and like whatever it is. I mean, as long as it's in the house. But whatever it is that I ask for, whether it be just a plain fucking, I don't know, the simplest thing, whether it be egg whites or whatever.
Just whatever
Well,
your request is.
Yeah.
Would you ask him for like the basic shit like cereal? Hey man, pour me a bowl of cereal. I think that'd
Yeah.
be like the biggest slap in the face to a personal
No,
chef.
you're being paid for this shit.
Yeah, like hey, you're skilled in the arts, you know, the culinary arts, and I'm gonna
But I
ask you.
just need cereal. You know what I'm talking about? So the third thing, for the people that don't know, I hate people, and what I mean by that is I kind of really do dislike being around a lot of people at once. So with that being said, is the third thing, like Sean said, I would pay somebody to do all my shopping for me. Like the shit that I can get online, I would get online. But like this person would need to know like what size of wear I wear in clothes, so that they get like shit that I can't get online and I want it. Be like, hey man, you're gonna go get me this, and this in clothes. Yeah, I also need this in groceries. So go get these groceries. Cause I don't like shopping. I don't like lines. I don't like people. I don't like stores. I don't like parking lots. So I just, that would be the only other thing.
There's like delivery services that do that. There's that one.
Yeah, but
what's it
see,
called?
Delivery services can fuck
Do you
up.
want like a relationship with these people, or
What do
are
you
you
mean?
also hiring like full-time friends at this point? Like,
Why is what I'm saying like so fucking?
bro, you want them there? Like it sounds kind of like you want them there the whole time. Like, hey man, I'm hungry. Go get me something. Hey, we're going this place. We're going to the beach.
Yeah, man, like you're talking about not liking people, man, but having a cook and a driver is way too intimate a
hiring
relationship.
posse, bro. Just get some homies, dude.
No,
You don't need.
nah, cause your homies won't drive you out of town at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, if you pay them.
Well, that's why I'm paying this fucking person.
Man, if you got money, man, get your ass a fast car and a lawyer to
I
pay
do
off
not.
your speeding tickets.
I do not want to drive.
You don't even have to get insurance at that point. You know, just be like, hey
Dude.
man, I'm rich.
Fuck
Dude,
it.
just-
You get yourself a Tesla, you jailbreak that motherfucker, it drives itself everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You never touch a steering wheel again in your life.
That's what I would do. I would and I'm serious. I'm dead serious on the chef and
Yeah.
on the driver for damn sure. Cause another thing that I'll admit, I don't like driving.
Yeah, dude. The few times that we've eaten together, I have to drive you everywhere.
I don't. I'd rather
Yeah.
not.
I feel like I'm driving Miss Daisy, dude. I
The-
feel
the-
like
The only times
Freddie, why are you sitting in the back seat?
The only times I actually enjoy, or not enjoy, but that I don't mind driving, and this is gonna sound totally crazy, is like on road trips. But
For real?
they can't be that long either. Like I'll drive from here to San Antonio, from here to like Corpus. But the drive to Louisiana, even though I've only done it twice, it's all right.
Yeah.
But like driving like state to state, fuck that.
Do you like require like a driving buddy,
What do you mean?
like someone to like keep up, like stay up with you, like on
No,
the
no.
passenger side?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
would rather like if I'm driving,
Yeah.
like long distance somewhere. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'd rather be alone.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I'd rather be alone. Because again, it's gonna sound kind of crazy,
Oh yeah.
but
That's
like
right. You don't like people.
in those long.
Yo, but if you had a personal driver, dude, you'd have to get over that phobia where you like.
No, then that would be fine. But at
Are you
this,
gonna do like a limo where you're separated from the
no,
guy?
man, no, could just be a fucking wreck. You know what I'm gonna get? That Mercedes-Benz fucking family van, the one with the 6-row seater and shit.
Are you
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that's
Is that like your dream car?
nah.
Dude, I'll be honest. I've been thinking about this a little bit. If I ever got to the point in my career where I could afford a tour bus, or if I ever had any excuse to have a tour bus, I would totally go for one of those double-decker English-style motherfuckers and put
And you
basic.
also drive on the other side of the road. And
No,
shit.
no, man.
Like
Here's the
decked out
thing.
to like American.
I'd have a fucking drinking patio on the fucking roof.
Word.
You see where I'm, Joaquin? I see the look on your face.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I
Oh yeah, man. That's nice.
want the type of vehicle that requires a driver and a bartender.
And
The other thing,
yeah.
my chef, because by this time, I would be able to like recreationally, like smoke weed.
You want to infuse your food?
My chef. What I was gonna say was my chef and my driver would need to be able to go get them things for me, if it's not illegal.
Again, there are services for all of this.
Bro, you get friends, dude. I mean, you give your friend like an extra $20 to go get you a.
If I could, okay, I'll
Yeah.
put it to you this way: if I could hire a friend that was my friend to do that job, full time, then yeah, why not?
Look,
I don't
let's
see
be
why-
honest. The smart way to do this wouldn't be to find a friend that is basically your drug runner. What you do is you find a friend who likes to grow their own weed, and you go, "Hey, here's like $10,000. Grow enough for me too."
Pretty much,
And I think that's an investment, dude.
and
I
keep
think
it
actually-
and keep
you-
it coming.
I was just thinking one of the sweetest things would be to like buy your own plane, right? Like a private little, like a G3 or whatever,
Yeah.
and like turn it like open up a service where like you offer like it's a the ride share for like private planes and shit, charter flights and whatnot. But part of the contract is anytime I need to use the motherfucker, I get privilege.
Yo, what did I tell you guys last time, dude? I'm looking into doing it, dude.
Man,
I'm not even gonna use the plane. I'm just gonna rent it out for like photo shoots, videos. People want to flex, I have a plane that they can flex on.
no. My thing would be is I'm basically making other people pay so that I have a working, operational, up to date fucking piece of aeronautic technology
That's pretty smart too.
that will take my ass where the fuck I want to go.
Would you get them to pay the fuel? Because I just like
That is the most expensive.
Yeah.
I've heard.
I would charge cost with like maybe like a slight, like maybe you could do like a 3% or something like that charge on top for to put away for a rainy day.
Like I think the only person that I've heard talk about it openly is Ludacris. Ludacris has his own plane, and it's like a plane. Like it's a huge fucking plane, right? So,
Yo, what do you think about Bow Wow's plane?
So yeah, get the fuck out of here. So what somebody asked him, they were like, "Hey man," they were talking about the conversation of like traveling out the country or like going somewhere for like a week, and they're like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Man," they said they were like, "Oh man, like if we only had our own plane, like we could make that happen," and then they were like, "Oh wait, shit, Luda, you have a plane." He's like, "Can we borrow it?" And Luda was like, "Yeah, man, for sure. Y'all can ride in my plane." Like he's like, "For real? We can? Yeah, y'all can. like for free. You wouldn't charge us anything. Nah, and he was dead serious too. Like, I wouldn't charge you anything. The only thing I would ask is you just fuel it up. And he was like, and one of them he was like, oh fuck that, because he already knew. And the other one was, like, well shit, I'm pretty sure it's expensive. How much does it take? He's like, it's about a 30 grand one way. And he was like, well fuck. He was like, yeah, just pay for the fuel. I mean, 30 grand one way, and 30 grand back. And he's like, but it's 30 grand if you're traveling outside the country. Like here nationally, it's a little less. But yeah, he was like, and then that's when he said,
like a big ass plane.
Yeah, he has a pretty big.
Motherfucker, dude. I know, dude. I would just get like a little one.
No, dude, you can fuel everything on a little ass fucking plane.
No, dude. I'm not going far places, bro. I'm not trying to get.
Where the fuck are you going in a plane if you're not going far places?
I don't know. Just smoke out there and like chill out with it.
He wants to get up high to get high. You know what I'm saying,
dude? The whole point of having a plane is to have something that's gonna get your ass there fast as possible. So like,
I might take you to Mexico to the beach or something,
dude. The minute I heard that when you have your own plane, you can visit 4 countries in 1 week, I was like, I need to get me one of them.
Would you fly your own plane, or would you get?
What kind of math is that, man?
Huh?
What kind of math is that?
Yeah, they're probably talking about Mexico and Honduras and Guatemala.
I don't know.
All those little ass
I
countries.
don't know
down
what
south.
countries they were talking about, but they were like, you can visit about 4 countries in 1 week.
Yeah.
Man, you can visit a lot more countries than that, man. I mean,
Well, I mean,
maybe
if
legally
I'm
speaking.
guessing that they would, like, they were talking about like stopping, doing whatever you need to do in that country, taking off, going to the next country. I think that's what they meant. I don't think they meant like fucking just go, stop, and then leave, and then.
How fast would it be? Like, get you to here, like, let's say, here to New York.
Oh, that's here to New York. I've heard that it's only about a 6-hour flight.
A 6-hour flight? How far is that driving? That's at least like a 28 or 26-hour flight. I mean, drive.
I know it's like 24 hours to get up to like Seattle. So I imagine.
On a plane?
No, driving. Driving.
Because I was going to say, it's 16 hours from Houston to China.
Let's see.
So,
16 hours to Houston to China? A flight or?
A flight. Hey, you're not going to fucking go in a car.
Shit. It's 28 hours.
Driving
to New York.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was roadways like across oceans to take you to like foreign countries.
Fuck that.
Shit, dude.
Imagine that fucking
Elon
road.
Musk's next idea, dude. That's
fuck that, dude.
Tunnels in the ocean.
To be honest, man, the research that they're managing to do while they're doing that boring underneath LA right now, because I mean they've been digging tunnels for what, almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, there's nothing, because dude, that interview he did that Musk did on Rogan, where he was talking about like, yeah, basically we figured out, you put the tunnel down far enough, earthquakes, whatever, man, doesn't fucking matter, I mean, they might flood, but that's about it. And as long as you got the seals on there, you're good.
And see, right, and I'm not gonna say that they're working on that now, because I don't think it's true, but they are in the talks. There's a couple billionaires that are coming together, and what they're gonna do, or what they want to do, is and don't quote me on it. I forgot what the actual technical term to it is, but it's like something like a super subway, that where you basically, once that's done, and of course for now they're only trying to work one route, which is from LA to New York, but it'll take you from LA to New York, and I think it's under an hour.
See, now that would probably be the smart way to go, because right now,
it's gonna be like a tube type of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because if you do like the Japanese style bullet train, you got to worry about the sonic boom that accompanies it. Like I've actually sat down and kind of thought about like,
what is the sonic boom? Like, explain that to me.
As it breaks the sound barrier, like it creates.
Oh.
Yeah, basically the wave in the air is going faster than it. Like it's outpacing itself.
No joke.
Right. That's like when you see like military planes doing. Well, fuck, you would know about
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
man. That fucking when they kick it into high gear, you
yeah,
get that fucking like
yeah.
that rolling. That's the sonic boom, man.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but think about that. Only it's on the ground. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Do you
you're
think the
getting.
passengers would be able to like feel that and experience that, or no?
No, they don't. That's the
No?
thing. If you're in the vehicle that's
Yeah.
going that fast, you don't experience it because it's an outside effect.
Are
But
these trains like well insulated or like?
my understanding is the ones in Japan are supposed to be not only very smooth but very quiet from the inside.
No shit.
I mean, it's probably. I'd imagine it's probably like when you go on a plane and you can hear that background.
Okay.
But yeah. But here's the thing. All right, you got this motherfucker in a subway tunnel underneath the ground. What you'd probably have to do would be to have like some sort of towers coming up out of it, kind of like a suppressor for a firearm.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like a couple stories of just baffles, so that you're getting like maybe a minor roar as the train goes by, but you're not getting that fucking world shaking
Yeah.
effect.
I just think that
That's kind of. I didn't know that they were operated on that level. That's kind of scary.
I want to say the ones in Japan are
what's
like,
scary about it?
Huh? That the boom or the boom that he's talking about.
Yeah.
That creates like shock waves.
Yeah.
Throughout the atmosphere.
oh yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
man.
and some of these, I'm assuming they're underground, right?
Now
They go through tunnels
what's-
like through mountains because they can't really.
Yeah.
When you're going that fast,
Are
man,
they,
you
like-
can't have a lot of change in like direction and like
Oh, I got you.
elevation.
what scares me about these tunnels and shit is that I feel, and I'm not a fucking engineer or anything like that, but and I'm pretty sure there's people way smarter than me doing this shit, but still, what scares me is that I feel that there's only so much that you can dig literally into the earth and put in these tunnels before shit up above like really starts to collapse. You know what I'm saying? And the reason that I say this is because there has already been reports of like sinkholes coming out of like nowhere, and they can't prove it because there's nothing really engineer wise that connects it to it, but there's speculation of people saying like, well, it's because like of all these tunnels and shit that people all these tunnels and shit that people are building right up under us and shit.
I think the best example of how structurally sound some of these projects are is the fact that LA and San Francisco both, which are cities that have been devastated by earthquakes many times in the last 100 years, have also maintained subway systems. And my understanding is they have never had a tunnel collapse.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the Bay Area, that's pretty fucking impressive, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change of elevation, and at least on the surface level. I'm not sure underneath the ground if that like.
Well, that's part of what Musk was talking about. Is like once you go down deep enough with these things, like you're not. It's kind of like if you were underneath a tidal wave on the ocean. If you were in the water, you're fucking good. But if you're up on top, you're fucked. So.
Holy shit.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't know why. I was just picturing like you ever seen one of those flashlights that you shake the motherfucker to charge it up? It's got like the little spring.
Yeah.
If you just like, it's like, oh shit, the earthquake's coming. You just like send some little kid like go stand on the roof with this and just like charge up your batteries for a month.
Hey man, I wanted to ask you, dude, if you don't mind sharing about your weekend, man. I'm sorry, you had like an interesting.
But
weekend.
before we get into that, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
After like the first hour.
I'm trying to pull a Kanye West. Fucking. Hey, I know that you just. But before you say that, Beyonce's album. Go ahead.
That was just alcohol and arrogance.
Yeah, Sean, you had a pretty Interesting fucking weekend.
Well, it was interesting for me, man. Like I'd managed to answer a question I'd never thought to ask before. Yeah, I fucked around, got experimental, and decided to go on a 3-day coffee fast. I mean, not just like out of the blue. Like I'd done a little bit of like reading into it, but
Oh,
yeah.
so then this shit was planned.
It wasn't planned. Like it wasn't like it was like, yeah, next weekend I'm gonna do a 3-day fast. Just like I had been reading some stuff, and then like I was telling y'all before we started recording, I went like one day, like having not eaten, and I was like, well, fuck it, I've already started this, so like I might as well keep going with it. And I just kept going for another 2 days.
But it kind of amazes me that you said
And just to be clear,
you didn't lose any weight.
yeah, that's something I would point out immediately. This was not a weight loss type of thing. This was a reset for my my eating schedule and sleeping schedule. Like that's what it was intended to do.
Oh no, but even if it was
Because you said like you were eating like late, and then also because of that like sleeping late. You know.
Yeah.
Is that mainly what you were trying to hit, or were you also like not sleeping like or not eating well and not waking up well in the mornings?
Well, yeah, that as well, man. Like I was eating heavily at night because I was getting home late and not eating during the day.
Yeah.
So like I'd go to bed like stuffed, wasn't giving myself time to
Would
like.
that give you like the shits in the morning or anything like that? Was it like messing up your stomach? No.
Not that badly, man. If anything, it was kind of slowing me down a little bit. Like I'd wake up like, when you feel like it's like you can feel extra weight in you because like of food and all that. Like that was the problem, man.
You think like because I've been doing that recently and
not eating?
No, not eating, but like eating like late at night, and like going to sleep right afterwards and shit.
That's really bad.
Well, dude, like I started feeling like short of breath, man, and I think it's kind of due to that because I feel like substantially heavier as well. Like.
Well, you look substantially.
Yeah,
heavy.
I think it just slows you down, man. Like that was one of the things that like I'm trying to remember where it was I was reading that, but it was part of the literature I was reading around the fasting, and somebody was trying to talk. It was a forum, and all these folks are going back and forth, and most of it's anecdotal evidence. Every once in a while, somebody's linking to like a nutritional paper or something like that, and somebody kind of came in there and was like, "Fucking," they were like firebranding it, like, "Oh my god, this is a horrible idea. You should never fast," and all this stuff. But they were throwing like they were providing like links to information and stuff like that, and their basic premise was like, you can't shut down if your goal is to say lose weight or say do something functional with it, like if you're going to start working out or something like that, like you don't want to fast and lift weights at the same time. Like that's not the best idea.
It's like a strenuous that burns a lot of calories, especially if you're not putting any calories into your body. Like you're just like
So let me get something straight just real quick and maybe y'all can educate me on it, but because I've heard that before. But I guess when people tell you that you shouldn't work out while you're fasting, do they mean don't do weightlifting and you can do cardio, or don't do any type of workout while you're fasting?
Well, I've heard like two different trains of thoughts on the topic of like fasting and working out. And the first one goes that you don't do anything strenuous, like don't overexert yourself on weights.
So cardio, not.
No, you could do cardio, but like walking.
Okay,
Something that doesn't really elevate your heart rate, because then that demands you burning a significant amount of calories.
Well,
yeah,
the thing is,
got to do with your.
The thing is that I
you don't want to burn muscle. Like,
the thing is that I do that on purpose to kind of burn through the fat.
To burn through the fat.
Right. You're not worried about burning through the fat. What you're worried about burning through is your glycogen. Like that's your kind of that is the stored form of carbohydrates. I think I'm saying that right.
Like your energy compounds and stuff, right?
Right, but you also need glycogen specifically. Like you can convert fat into like fuel right? But like you need glycogen specifically to perform certain metabolic functions. Like some of that has to do with like your muscle synthesis and stuff like that. So you don't want to like stress yourself in any way because that will deplete the glycogen, and once you're out of that, that's when your body kind of that's actually when you go into deep ketosis, is when your body is completely out of glycogen. You know what I mean? That's when there is no choice.
Is that
there.
good or bad?
That's kind of like bad, man.
Yeah, that's edge case. Like you that's something. The way they started doing that, my understanding was they were studying seizures in young children, and they found that putting them into wait, I can't remember. It was either children or it was adults. I don't remember which one is easier to get into ketosis, but the one that was harder, they were having to like take them like all the way down, like, but manage it. So like you're tracking all of their levels as they're getting down there, because your brain likes to run off of glycogen. Like that's what it prefers. So like if you're not managing that, like you can kind of run out of fuel before your body kicks into the process of being able to burn the ketones.
Okay. So
And if there are any nutritionists listening to this and I butchered that explanation, fuck you, I'm the one with the mic.
But yeah, you don't want to do that, dude. That's one the first train of thought is like you could do activities, but don't like overexert yourself. They specifically say not to like go over a certain heart rate.
Because when I like, for example, on Saturday that I did that water fast, I worked out twice,
like hard, heavy.
I
I mean, you were probably good because you had it like what Sean says. You probably had like a good stored amount of glycogen. You didn't really feel it, you know.
I did drink a shitload of water. I went because I measured my drinking for that day, and I drank a little over a gallon and a half.
Yeah.
So I mean, I made sure that I had enough water in my system. But I did a total within that day, in the 2 workouts that I did, I ran a total of like 8 miles.
Oh shit.
And I burned about 2,200 calories.
Oh shit.
Well, I mean, hold on. 2,200 calories in a 24-hour period, not in a workout. So that's why I was asking. And I got off and I felt fine. Like I didn't feel dizzy, or because I've heard people that say that you shouldn't do that. I've heard that they say that because then you run the risk of like feeling dizzy and shit like that.
Yeah.
A funny story, and I'm not saying that I'm ever gonna work out like that. I doubt it, because you need to be very disciplined. I mean, maybe I will in the future, but you need to be very, very fucking disciplined to be able to work out that hard. Rogan, a funny thing that hits me every time about Rogan was that he says that there's sometimes when he does like crazy workout sessions that he works out for about an hour and a half. He says that what happens with him, because he's also very leaned out. He's heavy and he's built, but he's also short. Dude, he's also very leaned out.
He like builds weight differently because he's shorter.
Yeah, and the thing with him that he says that during his workouts, he works out so hard that his blood sugar drops, but like very low. So he says that
I believe, like he said,
he
starts
to
the point where he
it.
throws up. And
stuff. So what he does is he has to drink like 1 12-ounce can of cream soda, so that his sugar can like pick in the middle of his workout.
Yeah, I mean that's probably why he stays so cut and lean.
Yeah,
is because like that's like another form of.
But I was just
putting
thinking,
your body in
like
shock.
I was just thinking, like for Rogan to work out that means that you're fucking working, like you're pushing your body. Like
shout out to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, man. The other one,
yeah, dude. Like
the other one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all looked at his body in a heterosexual way, like saying, "Hey, man, that's fucking impressive."
Well, I mean, what I said the other day, and my cousin was making fun of me because he's just being a dick about it. But when he found out that I was working out and everything was doing, he was like, "Dude, what's your goal, and why do you want to lean out like that?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, because I want to get off my medication or whatever. But I also want to lean." I told him I was like, "I want to lean out, and there's no non-homosexual way of saying this, but I'd really like to have that Floyd Mayweather body."
Oh, I thought he was gonna say that gay guy body.
but yeah, I mean that's what, and I mean,
Yo, cuz I really want that twink bud.
for Floyd, man, Floyd. For a lot of people that don't know, I mean, I'm not gonna match his work ethic like ever. That's one work ethic that I know for a fact in my lifetime I will not reach.
Yeah.
But Floyd, for the people that don't know, just turned 50, but you look at him and that dude is like shredded, and the condition that he's in at 50 years old is just.
I think it's because he's kept that wheel rolling, dude, throughout his life. You know, like
he
I don't think he's had
something that clicks in my head is that this dude is gonna be well into his 60s, late 60s, early 70s, and he's still gonna be banging pussy like a motherfucker. Just, I don't think that shit is ever gonna, like, cause he like, it's just, but another thing that I was gonna say, there was this video, I think it was on FightHype.com, where Floyd was working out, but he was training for a fight. I don't remember for what fight it was, but he was training for a fight. And he invited, because he's friends with Tyrese. And everybody that knows and has seen Tyrese in movies, Tyrese is ripped too. Like, he's in very good shape.
Yo, side note, dude. Tyrese is fucking friends with everybody, bro. I've seen him hanging with fucking Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
I've seen him hanging out with 2 Chainz, dude. Yeah. Like, this guy is 50 Cent, dude. P. Diddy.
Yeah, he was hanging out with Floyd, and they were working out together. So Floyd was putting out his cardio that night. So he was running down the strip with his bodyguards following him in a car like he normally does. Well, Floyd started running with him, right? I mean, Tyrese started running with him. And every so often, Tyrese, I think it was, he said 2 miles or 3 miles, Tyrese would have to pull the van over and jump in to like take a break. They would catch up to Floyd. He would start running again. But he did that like 3 or 4 times in a session. And it was funny because after the workout, they got back to Floyd's house and they were going to close out the video or whatever. And the camera guy asked him, he was like, "Hey man, well, what's it like to work out with Floyd Mayweather?" And he was like, "Today, it's been proven that Floyd Mayweather is not a real motherfucker. And what I mean is, this dude is not a real person. This dude was a genetic modification or invention somewhere in a lab, because his endurance is just through the roof."
Yeah, man. And like Tyrese is like 10 years younger than him.
Exactly,
yeah, dude,
bro.
Like, that's like. And I mean, I guess Tyrese is in tip top shape for a 40-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true. Fucking Floyd Mayweather's like a freak, man.
Exactly, and the other thing that a lot of people don't know is like, with Floyd's sparring session.
Yeah. I think a lot has to do with it because in most of his fights, he's like been hit in the head like very little times.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's his defensive skill to be able to move and
like
bob.
I don't think any of like the shock has like affected much of his brain hormone wise. You know, like.
Yeah, that's a big problem with boxers in their later years.
Yeah. Exactly, and see the other thing that with him is like with his sparring sessions, his sparring session is very different from like the sparring sessions that other boxers have. Like, for example, something that has been noted from his training camp is that he has a long line of sparring partners that goes during the sparring sessions, because 1 or 2 or 3 people can't keep up with him. The reason that they can't keep up with him is because this dude has been known to spar up to 4 and 5 30-minute rounds. meaning like with no pause in between. So no other person is gonna stand there and give you a full set of sparring session without dropping in like energy or whatever.
Yo, dude, that's because it's like a really high cardio intensive workout, bro. Like I've tried to box, bro, and it's like, fuck, man.
Fuck yeah, bro! I told y'all the other day I started hitting the heavy bag that I have in the back again.
Yeah.
Boy, and I was like in my fucking head because I used to like train in a boxing gym before, but I hadn't done it in a long time, and I was like, you know what, man, I didn't get to do my cardio today at the gym. I'm gonna do it here in the back of the house. I got my gloves and everything. I'm gonna hit the bag, and I thought, but I'm gonna take it light. I'm gonna do about 5 to 6 3-minute rounds like a regular thing, you know. So I set a timer and everything, bro. I literally did 2.5 rounds, and I literally felt like I had bricks on my shoulders and my arms, dude.
Yeah,
I
dude.
felt like I had 10-pound weights.
Yo,
by the
speaking
time.
of boxing, bro, did you guys check out that fight on Saturday?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck, dude. First ever heavyweight champion
Mexican.
of the world that's Mexican, dude. Like,
Yeah.
That's man.
Mexican. And that motherfucker looks like Homer Simpson without a shirt, old
Fuck
boy.
yeah, dude. All these drunk Theo memes, did you guys see them? Yeah, dude, this guy was flabby, bro. The third round, I thought this guy was like gonna get murdered. I was like, fuck, dude, Anthony Joshua's gonna rape this poor little Mexican guy. Like, hi, Theo.
And he totally
And he
fucked
fucking-
him up,
He turned
bro.
it around that same round, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when whenever like the knockout started to happen, bro. Like that's
Yeah, man. And that's crazy, dude. Like during that fight, first of all, I want to put it out there. I was rooting for Joshua to lose. I wanted him to lose, and I'll tell you why. And a lot of people are gonna say, "Nah, bullshit, whatever," because he lost already. It already happened, so you're just saying it because it already happened. No, but I always thought that he didn't have the boxing skill or the power to like hang with Deontay Wilder. So I was like, I want them to fight just so that
that fight's not gonna happen now.
No, well,
man.
now it's not gonna happen. Or maybe it will happen, but maybe not because he doesn't have the titles anymore. But anyway, I was like, I want Wilder to fight him.
Like the fight will make more money if there's titles on the line.
Exactly.
Like you saw how many title belts that little chubby guy Andy Reese, dude. I don't want to like shame on him, but
you are shaming like
I'm
a
sorry.
motherfucker.
Hey, if he ever listens to this, like, hey, bro, like, there's a huge Mexican flag hanging over here,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
not Freddy's.
It's mine.
Okay, it's Freddy's.
So, yeah, man, I wanted him to fight Deontay Wilder just because I knew that he was gonna fuck him up, and I wanted him to like just beat him, you know?
Yeah.
Because I just knew like he was good, but if you go back and look at Anthony Joshua's resume, he only has Klitschko on the resume that you can say. That he.
What's impressive about it though is he's fought like 20 bouts. It's been 20 or 21 with this one, and he's had like up to this point 0 losses.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, again, I go back to like you have to look at the level of the opposition. Well, I'm sorry to say, man, but like when you're fighting a whole bunch of scraps,
yeah,
like it's kind of easy to like make your record. It's like it's like Chavez Jr. man.
Yeah.
Chavez Jr. made it to like 40-0 or 41-0.
Yeah, but you move out of the scraps category after a while. You know.
That's why I said
You don't have to.
Look. That's what I said. Like look
But,
at
like, to
look at the resume.
To gain all these title belts, you move out of those categories. You know, he had like 4.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
if you go back and look at the resume, like he only had that big name, like he had Klitschko, yeah, and find his record and name me his last 10 fights, and I'll tell you if those boxers were good enough or notable enough for you to say yeah, like he.
So how do you think he got Klitschko?
What do you mean? How you think you got him?
I mean, that's not exactly a fucking easy fight, man.
Oh no! but what do you mean by how do you think he got him? Like how do I think he beat him, or how do I think
You're saying this
got the
motherfucker didn't have. I am unfamiliar with this cat 100%. I've never seen the motherfucker fight. I've seen Klitschko fight, but I did not see that fight. So, if you're saying this guy is lacking somehow,
he's not. I'm not saying he's a complete fucking.
I know you're not saying that, but I'm saying like, okay, so what was the serendipitous combination that got this motherfucker?
Well, he kept winning, and then he kept chasing after the title, and that's the thing.
He like beat him in like the 11th round.
Yeah, the thing about boxing is that no matter no matter who you face, as long as you keep winning, eventually.
Motherfucker, you gonna tell me gravity makes shit fall down too? That's not what I'm fucking asking you, man.
No. I know that's not what you're asking. What I'm saying is, like, as long as you keep winning, like you're good, you're bound to run into that big name or whatever. Hey man, you want another?
What? No, man. Hey, what time are we at?
We're at an hour and 20 minutes.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I found it, dude. No, man. I don't even want to repeat the names. You're right. You're going to make me still repeat the names?
Yes.
Yeah.
The last 10.
You going to make me call you daddy, too?
No?
All right.
Give me the last 10.
Last 10. Besides Andy Ruiz, it was Alexander Provikin. It was Joseph Parker, Carlos Takaman.
But hold on. Alexander Povitkin,
Yeah.
He's another good one.
That
was a good one.
Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker was all right.
Carlos Takaman. But Joseph Parker was not like Anthony Joshua level. I don't think he was as like. I think.
Wait, whose resume are you looking at?
I'm looking at Anthony Joshua's.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then it's what's his name? Vladimir.
Klitschko.
Yeah, Klitschko.
That's the biggest name on the resume. Go ahead.
Eric Molina.
Eric Molina's a sea fighter, but it's okay.
Yeah, Dominic Breezley.
He's the one that he's the one that Deontay Wilder knocked out in one round.
Yeah.
And he took 7 or 8, I think.
Okay, and Carlos Martin, and that was like a knockout.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That white guy, Dillian White.
Oh.
Gary Cornish, Kevin Johnson. Gary Cornish. I mean, he's not like a big time boxer, but he's considered like an athlete in the sport. You know.
They're all considered athletes, bro.
I know, but like, and he got knocked down. He got a technical knockout in the first round. Like this guy probably stood up and looked too fucked up. Kevin Johnson, Raphael Love, Jason Gavern, Michael Sprout, Dennis Bahovoto, Konstantin, how do you pronounce his last name? Ehrlich, the German guy. Matt Skellington, Matt Legg, Hector Avila, Dorian Dratch.
Exactly my point. You could stop there.
Okay, let me just...
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Now, I'm not going to make you do this.
Yeah.
But you can go back and look at Deontay Wilder's last 10 fights. And you're going to clearly see the difference in opposition. That's what I'm saying. That going back to...
I'm curious to see this fat Mexican guy. I mean, this...
Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other
American.
thing.
Man,
that's the other thing that I was going to tell you.
Because he's had one loss, and it was to Joseph Parker. That's what I'm saying. Joseph Parker also lost to Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua. You know
the thing about that, man. The only thing I'm saying is that with Ruiz, I really do feel, and I may be wrong. I'm not banking on this completely.
Yeah.
But I really do feel that he's not gonna be champ for long.
You don't think so?
Nah.
You think Deontay Wilder's gonna like? Take
yeah, definitely.
After this guy did all the hard work, bro.
Again, listen.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to do it, but listen to what I said.
It sounds like you're asking me to do it.
No, don't. No, you don't have to because it'll take you a minute. But
Actually, it sounds like he wants you to just believe him.
no, I'm just saying.
I believe you.
If you compare, the resumes, like even this Ruiz's guy,
Maybe we'll
resume,
leave it up to like the audience. Let the audience look this up.
It won't it won't compare to Deontay's, man. It's the level of opposition that really makes you like that really differentiates like a great boxer from again a boxer that's been fighting a bunch of scraps.
Yeah.
It's
How
just
did you
the same
feel
thing.
about that fight that he had with what's his name? That Fury guy.
Who?
Oh, what's his name? The gypsy guy. Big
Yeah,
pasty
Fury.
white guy.
What
Nick,
about
what's his first name?
Fury, Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury, man.
Well, what-
Did you catch that?
What fighting who?
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, man, he beat him twice.
No, he didn't beat him,
Yeah,
dude. It was
bro.
undecided.
You
He
no,
still
I know.
remained champ.
It was a draw, but I'm telling you, Deontay won that fight. You can't drop a dude twice in a fight
Bro,
and
but did
call
you
it
see?
a draw.
Did you see?
I did see it
at the
and
end,
I've
man.
seen-
He was still good, bro.
Oh, and another thing,
This guy takes knockouts for a living, bro. Like,
and another thing is that second time he fell,
yeah.
he didn't beat the 10 count. That count was a second and a half long.
I mean, if
They-
you want to get into technicals, dude,
Yeah.
I mean, I trust the decision of the professionals.
No,
That were there, you know, like,
I definitely.
Oh yeah,
don't.
yeah, because boxing fucking officials
Exactly.
always the
You
know,
most
hey,
honest human
exactly.
beings.
I'm trying to win this argument, Sean. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So
Well, you should do like most boxers have throughout history and bribe my ass to not point out your flaws.
yeah. So my main point, man, you can't knock anybody down in a boxing ring twice and call it a draw. I don't give a fuck what. Not unless you get up the canvas,
Yeah.
which it's happened before. Not unless you
He
get up.
I mean, he got up the canvas technically.
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Not unless you get up and knock the other guy out, you're not gonna win that fight. There's no way that you're gonna have 2 10-8 rounds and win the fight. It's. So that's what I'm saying. He got robbed. He got robbed. The same thing in
I mean, he didn't get a title taken away.
but it's still a draw, man. And the reason that I lean so heavy on draws is because me personally in boxing, or in any combat sport, I fucking hate draws. I hate it.
Did you ever
And-
like compete in boxing?
We've had this conversation.
Oh, that's right.
So, but thank you for bringing it up, Dick.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so
We're talking about schoolyard boxing.
school. Okay.
What was your record in the schoolyard? Man?
This is why I hate fucking Mexicans. Anyway, yeah, man. Like just in that Canelo and Triple G fight, Canelo beat him twice. Beat him. That draw was bullshit, and I've seen that fight 3 times, and it was bullshit. But
Made a lot of money.
yeah,
They
they
did.
did make a lot of money.
I think if they fight again, it's gonna make more.
Yeah, because that
Same
draw
thing
was
with this Tyson Fury and
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder
now.
fight.
I didn't like the way he looked, but Tyson Fury when he fought it. Why are you laughing?
You didn't like the way Tyson Fury looked?
when he fought Klitschko.
Oh,
When he fought, I didn't like the way, but I do feel that he did do enough to beat him.
Yo, dude, you know what? When I mentioned the schoolyard fights, you know what I was thinking about the other day too? Is are you guys familiar with Nate Diaz and the Diaz brothers, Nate and Nick Diaz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you have you seen their fights whenever they start like bitching out their opponent? Like as they're punching them, they're calling him a bitch. Like I'm gonna fucking get you, bitch.
Talking about the cuts where they're doing the mic from inside the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like that shit's like
Yeah.
completely ghetto
yeah,
schoolyard,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, man. And
Like,
I was telling you earlier.
Imagine someone calling you a bitch every time
Yeah.
he punches you, dude.
Like I was telling him earlier. I'm pretty sure you know who he is. You do know who James Toney is,
Yeah,
the boxer.
we've had this
Yeah,
conversation.
James Toney, bro. would do that during his fights and during his sparring sessions as well. Like he'd be punching the shit out of somebody, and he's like, come on, bitch, you can't touch me. Look. And then he would literally sometimes go up to them, and he was like, look, I want you to hit me right here, come on.
That sounds exactly what Nate did.
Yeah, man, and it's like, now, you know who else used to do that and got knocked the fuck out? And I was actually happy with
Conor McGregor?
No. Anderson Silva.
Oh,
I saw that fight.
Dude, I wouldn't take that serious though, dude. Like Anderson Silva looks like cuddly and like, I mean, that's why I'm a huge fan, because he doesn't look threatening, and there's this guy that could fucking kick you like crazy, dude.
True,
from 3 feet away.
And I think it was.
He looks like Bill Cosby. Like before Bill Cosby was known as like a predator. He looked like that, dude. Innocent.
Well, it wasn't a predator, bro. He was a rapist.
Predator, bro. I mean, rapist, predator. He still preyed on people.
He's an opportunistic predator, but
yeah,
he wasn't chasing down the gazelle. He was just waiting until they fell asleep and then raping them.
He was that scrawny like lion.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Anderson Silva doesn't look like a fucking threatening guy.
Well, all I'm saying is like
until you see him move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, like, even when you hear him talk, like, I've heard people speak Portuguese and talk like English, you know, people with Portuguese accents. And this guy, like, sounds like he's singing to you. Like,
yeah.
It's
and all I'm saying is he, when he came out, it was in the first round too. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, he came out showboating. And that's fine, man. I don't mind you showboating. Mayweather has done it before. But at least do it if you really have what it takes to back it up. This dude, like, came out showboating.
Okay, look, here's the one thing I've always appreciated about Mayweather, man. I've heard people claim that he showboats a lot, man. And what they fail to take into account every time that argument gets brought up is that motherfucker is not doing it for an ego trip. If he is showboating in the ring, he is specifically doing that shit to fuck with the other guy.
Yeah.
Like, that is all head game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things that made that McGregor fight, like, a little bit more interesting, was, like, the subtlety with which he was fucking with him in the first part of that fight.
Oh, even with the press conferences, man. Like, those were fucking big mind games. What like, he brought a stack of money?
Yeah. And the craziest thing
didn't he have his flag also? Like, that was another thing, dude. Like,
the craziest thing about him in the ring too, and that's why it pisses me off with people that say that he's a runner or whatever. Yeah. I tell everybody, first of all, something you need to understand is that boxing, that's exactly what the fuck it is. Like, boxing is a science of hitting and not being hit.
But also as like an entertainment thing. I mean, you're constantly building up to like
the
knockout.
This is what I say.
Yeah.
You want to watch a fight? You want to watch the closest thing to a street fight? Go watch UFC. Boxing is not designed to be like UFC. That's why you have UFC. Boxing is the skill of hitting somebody and not being hit. So and this is why
I think that's why it's in the Olympics, and UFC isn't. And like the MMA stuff isn't.
I never thought about it that way, but that's a good observation.
I mean, I think they have like jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu is like not even.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more of like a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Workout, you know, like.
Yeah. No, I like the only thing I was saying about boxing is that like with Mayweather, like when people say, "Oh, it's because he's a runner or whatever," and it's funny how they don't say that when he has that ability of literally standing in the pocket right in front of his opponent without moving nothing but his waist.
I was going to say, to be slightly clear, slightly offset.
Exactly. Slightly offset to the right and to the left. But he has that special ability to avoid punches in the pocket. Do you know how frustrating it is to try to hit somebody that's in front of you and you still can't hit him? That he gets he gets that shoulder roll defense, bro, and it's a done deal. You're not. As soon as he tucks his chin right under his shoulder,
and that's
not
like,
do it.
Yeah, man. I think that's another testament to his cardio game. Like, he's pretty fast, and he's fast consistently, like throughout the round.
Well, I mean,
throughout the
45-minute sparring rounds, bro. You gotta have fucking good conditioning.
Yeah, man.
So, the only other thing that sucks with Floyd and his conditioning is going back to what you were saying with his year, or you were saying it with his years of training. I'm pretty sure he knows too because he's a professional athlete, but he has that condition where basically, long story short, I forgot what it's called, but when you're like a strenuous athlete, like a triathlon runner and shit like that.
Yeah.
After a while, for did something die?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking about the batteries or something going up. My bad. He has that thing where there's a name for it, where when you pee, it comes out really dark. It's damn nearly black. Your pee is black, and
Are
that's
you
big.
peeing blood?
That's what renal failure, right
Yeah.
there.
No. It's something else.
No, but I know what you're talking about because whenever Joe Rogan had on that ex-Navy SEAL guy,
Yeah.
He was
Do
talking
you remember
about-
what it's called?
no, I don't
There's
remember.
a name for it.
But it's basically whenever you're basically consistently like pushing your body cardio wise,
Yeah.
and it starts to like flush out everything. Like it starts to like go through because it's going through so much energy, it's burning so much like calories and like I guess certain like,
and you know
fats and
and
stuff.
you know how I know.
I think it's actually breaking down your kidneys while it's going through is part of the issue.
Oh, for real? I mean,
And
that
you,
makes more sense.
You
than,
know
like,
why I know that Floyd has that? Because in one of the fucking behind the scenes when he was training, he was training for a fight, and he was making fun of a boxer that drinks his own pee for nutrition.
Yeah.
And then so what he did was he went in and he pissed into a bottle, and he like closed it or whatever, and he was like, "Hey man, here, you want to drink mine too or whatever?" Because he was making fun. Dude, and when he pissed into that bottle, bro, and he filled it like to the top, that shit was like charcoal black. It was like dark liquor, fucking dark brownish black. And then it
was
clicked.
it like pee that had been out in the sun for like a long time?
No, I'm pretty sure he went and peed when he said he was gonna pee or whatever. He and
I think. Did the guy do it? I think that it would have been a bigger head game to the guy if he would have actually drank it. Like,
Well,
yeah, I'll drink your pee, bitch.
No. Oh yeah, he
You know?
didn't do that.
No.
But anyway, my reason for pointing that out was that's how it clicked into my head, and I was like, oh shit, he has that fucking disease that some athletes.
Yeah.
So you know who else suffers from that? Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, he does.
He has the same fucking.
That's
problem.
another freak of nature, dude. He's got like a heart that's bigger than it's what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be, and that gives him like an advantage.
Yeah, I don't.
And also incredible tolerance for drugs.
Yep.
Fuck yeah, dude. I want to party with Lance Armstrong, dude.
I don't know who it was.
I bet he does the finest cokes.
Yeah.
I don't know who it
Mr.
was.
Big Hot.
But there's another athlete that, and I think he's like the rarest of the rare, to where his heart rate I think rests at 33 beats.
Yeah.
33 beats a minute, and like he's like one out of like 10 people in the world or something.
I know I've heard some crazy ass, not quite that extreme, but some crazy ass stories about Randy Couture back in the day, man. Like that guy's like a freak endurance athlete as well. I mean, aside from just being a giant fucking like skilled human being.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's another guy that's pretty shredded in old age, dude.
Yeah. And you know who's still shredded too, and he's like 55?
Who?
Chuck Liddell, bro.
Chuck Liddell, too,
That motherfucker was
Okay.
still
He-
fucking.
but
I mean-
those are two examples of guys who came up in the bad old days when headshots were a fucking like a
Okay.
guaranteed. Like I think both of those motherfuckers are on T and human growth hormone replacement.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like
That's before the anti-doping policies and all
Yeah.
that stuff, man.
yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Like, well, dude, it's funny you mentioned Chuck Liddell, man. They're doing the whole thing about like what they're coming out with a documentary and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I remember those couple years right after he retired, man, where he was starting to look like the old retired fucking fighter, man.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised at all, man, if a lot of that had to do with the head trauma.
That guy was weird too because he had like a weird physique where he like got in shape, like you could tell he was ripped, but he still kept his like beer belly, you know?
Yeah.
That was like I'm pretty sure he did like abs and like cardio.
That's something that really gets to me, man. Not gets to me, but that really like gets to me in the way that I don't understand how they do it. And the only explanation I can give myself is that they really go into the gym and they kill themselves. Is people that are not that tall, like that they're like 5'9", 5'10", and they manage to weigh over 200 pounds, but you can still they take their shirt off and you can still see their six pack. Technically the only way that you can see your six pack is you need to get rid of all the fat, because we all have a six pack.
Yeah.
The only reason you can't see it, like we all have abs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The only reason you can't see them is because you have fat in front of them.
Yeah.
So the only way that you'll be able to do that is
Thank you for making me feel better.
The only way to do that is, I didn't mean to do that, but the only way you can do that
you got to get down to about 5% body fat.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 8% body fat, and even between 5 and 8, you still, well, some people say depending on your structure, like you'll still only be able to like feel them and like see them kind of. To really see them, you need to get down to like 3%, to where you can like see like all your abs and all of that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how the fuck you can be 5'9", 5'8", 5'10", and fucking weigh 200 pounds and be fucking shredded and see.
It's because of that, dude. Because I mean, well, not because of that. It's because of genetics, man. I mean, it just has to be your genetic makeup.
Well, sometimes it's body frame as well, man. Because you
Yeah.
get fucking wide ass fucking people, man.
Yeah. Like
Right.
some people are just built to like put on weight differently than other people, you know? Like most people, they get big in forms of like they look more muscular when they get big. Other people, they just look like a bag of potatoes, dude.
And you know, you're right, because I have a friend that he's about 5'7". He's a little bit taller than me.
Yeah.
And he weighs what I want to weigh. He weighs, I think, 140 or 145.
Yeah.
And so like he's skinny, and he's cut, like his arms and his chest, like he's cut. But I feel bad for him because he's that skinny and he works out. So like I said, he's cut, but you can't see his abs.
Oh, for real?
And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I tell him I'm sorry because I was like, dude, if first of all, if you were to drop another 10 pounds, I don't think it's healthy. And secondly, I really think that if you drop another 10 pounds, you probably would still not be able to see your abs.
That's when steroids would come in handy.
Yeah, fuck that.
Steroids ain't gonna do shit for your abs.
True.
They'll give you that extra push maybe to like define them. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
You'd still have to destroy your fucking abs.
I'm curious about steroids.
Huh?
I'm curious. I mean, I'm scared, but I'm curious about steroids.
I wouldn't. From the little bit of like research that I've done on them, the only reason that I would never do steroids, and it has nothing to do with my penis, is just the reason that I've read in different articles that they fuck with the chemicals in your brain quickly. And there's some shits that it does to the chemicals in your brain that if you do them for some time, and I don't know how much that time is because it differs from person to person, but there's shit that they'll do to you in your brain that is, if you get to that point and it does to you, it's not reversible. So that's what I would be afraid of.
Hey, speaking of things that do stuff to your brain, we got like a little bit of time left. Do you want to touch on what you learned about mushrooms, man?
Mushrooms. So what?
Delicious.
What I've
not
learned.
Not the ones that you put on your pizza. You know, like the
well,
ones...
you can put them on pizza too.
Yeah, you can.
Mushrooms. What I'm gonna say first of all is I'm not a mushroom user. I've never been. I've never tried them. Is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't try them because of the reason that I've shared before. That I'm the type of person that I'm gonna try. If I'm gonna try something, I need to still be in control of me at all times. That's why the only things that I've tried is like drinking and
Yeah.
some pills and some other shit, way back in the day that I used to do. But with hallucinogens, I don't think I would be able to pull that off. What I had been reading on mushrooms in a very condensed way of putting it, I guess, is basically it is a hallucinogen, but it helps you to explore yourself. It brings you back in touch with you, and not necessarily the problems that you've dealt or whatever,
Yeah.
but it supposedly when you go into a deep trip,
Yeah.
it's supposed to show you,
Yeah.
not somebody else, you. It's supposed to show you who you really are.
I feel you.
And it shows like that
Can I say something along with that? Because
Yeah.
I've done mushrooms, and I've felt exactly what you're saying. And the way it's hit me is, I've seen everything that I've done to people, good or bad, and it showed me that as a bigger picture, painting, like, I guess, breaking down my ego or self ego or super ego, to where like I'm like, oh, I'm kind of a piece of shit. I've seen, like, I'm not like boasting myself up here like I'm not that bad or whatever. Like, I saw all these like failures and like stuff and bad stuff that I did to people. And like I realized that there was a level of like resentment and all this other stuff that I was building up because of all these things. Resentment towards myself, to certain people, and it kind of like opened up the scope of me more, like the way you were saying.
Yeah. And it also shows, it comes to show that uh, also because of the chemicals and the compounds that there's over, literally from the articles that I read, it says that there's different, over hundreds, literally over hundreds of different strands of mushrooms. So according to that article,
Yeah, there is.
there is different mushrooms that you can take. By the way, just so you know, this camera right here, I believe it flashed on and off. I don't know if that did something.
Let me check it out.
Just so you know.
No, we're still good.
There's different types of strands or whatever that, depending on the person, depending on your mood, depending on how your brain intakes things, you may react different to them.
Yeah.
And also you may get a different type of psychological trip
Yeah.
if you take a fresh mushroom or a dried one.
Well, yeah, man. Like, I mean, I feel safe disclosing that, like, I have like bipolar disorder,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, there's significant difference when I trip with my friends. Like, I always get really not introverted, but I guess I experience a little manic episode where I feel kind of like my friends are on the same like trip level. They're experiencing the same trip, and I feel like just completely isolated, and I feel like almost like not like I don't experience the same things that they're experiencing, and then like I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's a difference in like wave frequencies that my brain functions, probably because of the bipolar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's because of that.
Yeah.
But which brings me back to a comment that you had made yesterday or whenever it was we last talked, that because it's a psychological thing that it does to you or whatever, there is different, it messes with your senses.
Yeah.
So that's how and when you can hear color
Yeah.
and you can see like noise.
Yeah,
You
man.
know what I mean?
The real problem comes in like that's kind of like right off the bat you go like, oh, I'm seeing sounds. That's kind of obvious. The part where it starts fucking with you is where like say you have like a mild, it abstracts from there. Like if you're having like a mild discomfort, like say you had like, just as an example, say you had like some sand in your shoe and it was just kind of scratchy on the bottom of your foot. Like you'd notice the sand and you'd go, oh, that's kind of annoying. But as that's happening, your brain is kind of like abstracting and like drawing almost a manifestation out of that sensation in a deep trip. Like,
Yeah.
that's not low level type of shit. Like, if anything, man, on like a low level of mushrooms, you'd just be like, oh, there's sand in my shoe. I should clean that out.
Yeah.
But like the that point where like, or like you were talking about, like it's all kind of like you revealing yourself, right? Like mushrooms is definitely one of those things that like I used to listen to people talk about it like, oh, well, I bring like the whole shamanistic thing of like, bring back ancient knowledge from the, and it's like, no. Mushrooms are more like a psychologist, like the way we've had that conversation about like clinical therapy where it's like, man, you just pointing out shit I already know. And it's like, yeah. And like a really good psychologist can kind of like, give
like,
you a revelatory.
Yeah. I mean, because a really good psychologist would be like a guide.
Yeah.
Like through all this stuff that you're dealing with. The same thing, like with mushrooms,
Yeah.
Which is why it can be kind of weird. Like right after a trip, you're like, what the fuck was that? And then like a couple weeks later, you're like, oh, that's what that was about.
So I was gonna ask you, since you mentioned that you've tried them, in the articles that I read too, it says that you, and this is something I've never understood. I've heard it before, but I've never understood, and I get it. I think I've never understood it because I've never personally experienced it. But it says that you can go through even weeks and months and years after you've done mushrooms. You can have flashbacks. My question to that specifically is, what exactly is a flashback?
I think they're just like aha moments. I mean that I know of. I've heard that of acid as well, but acid is like, I think that like cakes your nervous system, and whenever you secrete like an expression of your nervous system, like it could create a flashback.
But what happens during a flashback?
A flashback during mushrooms? I mean, there's stuff that I've realized in mushrooms or during mushrooms that I've forgotten. And then later on, as I'm going throughout my day, like maybe months later, I'll have an aha moment where I realize like, oh, I've experienced and thought of this already when I was high on mushrooms. And that's the way it hits me. Sometimes it's just like a feeling, a specific feeling of feeling something, and it'll just like hit me back like, oh, like this feeling that I experienced while I was like taking mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've never tried them, or
Mushrooms? No, I've eaten my fair share of mushrooms, man. I've never had the aha moment necessarily. Like, don't get me wrong, I come back with the little secret trove of revelations and then spend a couple months digging through it to figure out if any of it's useful. But as far as flashbacks go,
no? What I meant, kind of in general, your experience with it.
well, this was what I was going to say, man. Was like what I have specifically experienced is basically after the mushroom trip, and kind of, it was almost like somebody went like, oh, by the way, you can play around with this. So like if I can stare at like patterns or like even like landscapes and make it just move. Like it's not like involuntary. I have to do it willfully. Like don't get me wrong, like sometimes when I'm like really tired, like I'll do that thing where like my eyes will kind of start to cross and like the pattern will just kind of draw itself. But yeah, for the most part, it's just kind of the ability to like, it's almost the awareness that like the physical thing and the signal in my head and what I'm receiving through my eyes is not the same thing. So like I can play around with that, but it's not really like I was driving my car and all of a sudden there were giant pink elephants like that. Not at all.
I see.
I've heard people talk about like that on like acid.
Another thing.
Frankly, I think that's a psychological break.
Yeah.
Another thing that I read, and I don't know how true it is because I don't know how credible the article was. Because, like I said, I read quite a few different articles. They say that a lot of people And I get it. I understand they're not real, but then again, you're going through a hallucinogenic trip. They say that there's people, and like quite a few people, that report the same thing, that they end up talking and interacting with leprechauns, and they see unicorns.
I've never experienced that. I mean, I've looked at stuff on the walls, kind of like you do like clouds when you're a kid, and they make certain stuff like Sean was saying with patterns and stuff like that. But I've never. No.
Yeah, it says that people will see like a leprechaun, and they'll be like in front of them, kind of like in that movie.
I have seen tiny people, but that was like goes back to the whole pattern thing. Like it looked like the tile I was sitting on was just like millions. It was almost like some Dante's Inferno shit. Like the whole ground was just like naked, writhing tiny people. I don't even know what they were fucking, but they were doing something.
Fuck, man, that sounds like a bad, gnarly little.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was on about maybe 5 grams of mushrooms while somebody was playing Batman Begins in the other room.
Oh shit!
Specifically, the scene where everybody's freaking out on the fucking like the gas and shit.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of basically letting some friends of mine know that I was going to be doing mushrooms. So like as I'm like just coming onto the trip, all of a sudden I get a fucking knock on my door, and they're like, "Hey man, we brought beer, pizza, and some movies, man." And I'm like, "I'm too high for this. Y'all stay in the living room. I'm gonna be in the back room." And like, but yeah, the tiny people thing, I've gotten that, but not leprechaun specific. I've never heard anyone mention leprechaun.
I did salvia one time, and I saw that little I saw avatar people, but really tiny.
Dude, salvia is a fucking toss. Did you ever see The Lady?
No, I never saw The Lady. I've heard people remember. Friends, there's like a whole subreddit on it.
That's the only reason because like that's the one drug trip thing where like nobody mentioned shit. Like I didn't read up on it. I just smoked some fucking salvia. Didn't even see like a woman. I just felt like a presence. Like, oh shit. I remember specifically saying out loud, "Oh shit, she's coming."
Yeah.
And then like I was like, that's weird. And then there's just it's one of those. Actually, that's how it got started, if I understand. Down in Mexico, whatever little group started smoking that shit originally, was it built up as a basically a small Christian sect, because these people thought they were seeing the Virgin Guadalupe or something like. Oh
shit! No joke.
Yeah, man. That whole thing was like they've only been smoking salvia for like 200 years, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
Basically, it was a small group. They got chased out by the Spanish. They were living up in the mountains, and they were like, "Oh shit, there's this little sage that's growing here." Start smoking it, and all of a sudden, here's the crazy thing. All right, when you did salvia, did you laugh?
No. Well, I laughed at first, but then after I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh yeah, it gets serious real quick.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, man.
What do you mean by serious? Because
you start having a bad trip on salvia.
So it's like salvia is an automatic bad trip?
No.
It doesn't last long enough to be a bad trip. But it starts to you start to feel like, oh shit, I have no control right now. Like I'm losing control real quick.
Yeah, salvia judges you. Like that's how it feels, or at least to me. Like it's
you start to feel like real all of a sudden. Like, oh shit. Like
what do you mean real?
Like you start to realize like, oh shit, like I'm in a room doing salvia and I'm losing control. My friends are all around me, like stuff like that.
The part that always fucked with me is when the walls start peeling open and you just assume that that's real. You ever seen
your hand on salvia like melt and stuff like that? I remember I tried to pick it up. Like my hand looked like it was melting, and I tried to like seriously like pick it up.
That. See, and I think that if I were to go through that, I would completely lose my shit.
Dude, salvia is the only thing I've ever, like, someone asked me for a hit of it. I gave it to them. And as they were drooling on the front of their own t-shirt, they kept saying, "I'm going to fucking kill you," because they were that fucking angry about the experience that they were having.
A part that fucks with me is that I usually, whenever we would smoke it, I mean, we would laugh at our friends, like, doing it because they look ridiculous. But then it's your turn, and they laugh at you, bro. And that's, like, a whole nother level of the high. Like you just get like that's like sets you in a bad trip for a little bit.
What I was going to say was if I remember the reading correctly, that little group of I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, man, but whatever the little group was down in Mexico that started smoking salvia, their whole thing is like you can't laugh. Like she doesn't like laughter. Do not fucking laugh.
That's hard as fuck, man.
That's what I mean, man. That shit feels like it's judging you.
Yeah, it is, dude.
See, and this is exactly why.
Yeah, you lose control, and then
Just-
the next day you have to explain to your friends why the hell you felt like an inanimate object had some form of fucking.
No,
It's like, you don't understand. It was judging me.
This is just exactly why you should just smoke weed and call it a day, man. Just weed is fine.
Oh, I've seen people lose their shit, think they were going to die on weed,
Yeah,
man.
well,
Yeah.
my brother kept telling me that the trees were green, so
Motherfucker, that sounded like a happy,
but-
good time compared to some shit I've seen,
The
man.
trees are green.
yeah.
Your brother was right.
Yeah. It was like, hey, the trees are green. And I was like, yeah, dude, I know. He's like, no, you don't get it. But the trees are green, bro. And I was like, yeah, they're green. I get it. So, yeah. Well, on that note, we touched on a little bit of everything. It's funny how we ended up on hallucinogenic trips, and we started off with the first black rapper that became a billionaire. But that kind of sums up this conversation.
The trees are green, the mushrooms are blue. Don't fuck with salvia because it'll fuck with you.
Pretty much. Nice, good riddle there, Sean. You got it down. So I think that's a good note to wrap it on. You want to?
That feels like a podcast.
Yeah.
You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com as well as Hatfield Standup on Facebook and Twitter.
And you can find me at Freddy G across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can find the video version at YouTube at Bouncing Brains. You can find the audio version at shoutengine.com/Bouncing Brains. You can listen to new episodes premiering every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at rgvtitanradio.com, or you can listen there to the new episodes 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's getting late in the evening right now. You can also find the audio version on Stitcher as well as the Google Music Play app. We didn't even get to that. iTunes is about to shut down, but they've already made their little split into, Apple Podcast. You can't find us there yet, but we're still aiming for it. But my point was going to be, fuck them.